Welcome to the very first AEW Dynamite review. This is the February 17th, 2021 episode of Dynamite. It was actually a pretty good show. I actually enjoyed it from beginning to end. I jotted down some of the events that took place throughout the night, so I'm going to run down everything and then post this up for you guys so you guys can find out what happened. Hopefully you guys like this because I used to review wrestling over on my old channel, F and True Wrestling, so I wanted to get back into providing you guys some really good wrestling reviews. And depending on how well this video does, if it does very well, I will be back next week with AEW and possibly Impact. So with that being said, guys, we start off the show with Hangman Adam Page and Matt Hardy teaming up to take on this local tag team, I want to say, because there's no one I ever recognized. I haven't even seen them on episodes of Dynamite in the past. They wind up defeating these two guys. Matt Hardy then cuts a promo post-match, talks about how Hangman made the right choice with choosing the Matt Hardy brand and how that he's going to make Hangman a lot of money. He then comes out and he says that he's going to be taking 30% of what Hangman makes. And then Hangman then counter says that there was a contract that was made that he put into Matt's jacket that Matt never looked over. And it was actually a contract that was presented to Matt tonight, again, for a match at the upcoming Revolution pay-per-view. And what happened is if Matt Hardy loses to Hangman, he gets every dime that Matt Hardy makes for the first quarter. So if Hangman beats Matt Hardy, he gets all of Matt's money for the first quarter of 2021. Then he kind of tried to rework it where if he beats Hangman, he gets a percentage of Hangman's money just to be fair. And then that's how then this segment comes to an end when the Dark Order comes out and jumps into the ring and starts attacking Matt, and these guys are all going at it. And then once Matt Hardy got out of the ring and started running away, it kind of looked as reminiscent that Hangman was going to join the Dark Order. So we'd have to see and wait and see what happens as weeks go on. We then have a backstage segment with the Inner Circle. It's Ortiz and Santana. They're talking about their championship match later in the night. How this is like their very first chance at regaining or capturing the AEW Tag Team Gold. Then Jericho starts talking about them bringing gold back to the Inner Circle. And MJF goes on kind of like a rant, and then he kind of gets shunned by Jericho, so you can still see that there's their little animosity there. And then it was really weird not seeing Sammy Guevara. It was really weird not seeing him there with them guys. So the first match of the night, the second match of the night, I'm sorry, was the first match of the Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament. They go to take on the AEW World Women's Champion. There was a video package of some highlights from a women's tournament that was taking place on YouTube on the AEW page. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go ahead and check that out. Rio defeated Serena Deeb, and this was actually a pretty good match. She's gonna wind up facing Thunder Rosa in the semifinals. I think that match is going to take place next week because I couldn't quite hear because I was on the phone with a buddy of mine at that exact moment. I have to say I was a little skeptical on the women's division in AEW. I'm a WWE guy. I like WWE, but I also do enjoy watching AEW here and there because I do like some of the guys that are over there. This match actually was pretty good. It was like some really good, solid wrestling. Better than I can do. I always have respect for the athletes no matter what. and I was actually really surprised and entertained with this match. Um, Rio wound up picking up the win in her first match back, and she moves on to the next round. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of good spots, a lot of off the top rope. Rio hit a really nice off the top rope crossbody, which was textbook. She went for a 619. It was a little sloppy, but I understand why it looked a little sloppy, because she couldn't get enough momentum going to hit it the right way, because she had been getting worked over on the leg. So I can understand why that was going on. They then show a video package which leads into a graphic for a match that's going to take place on the 3rd episode of Dynamite. It's going to be Jade Cargill and Shaq versus Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. We then go into Orange Cassidy picking up the win over Luther. Cassidy was accompanied by Chuck Taylor, one half of Best Friends. That was a pretty good match. I gotta say one thing. When I first saw Orange Cassidy, I was like, "There's no way this guy's over. There's no way this guy is gonna wrestle with his hands in his pocket." And he did. And the thing is, like, some of the things he does is like so kayfabe, and yet it's works and it's over. It is pretty damn good. And I actually came around on him. I actually like him, and I like how they work it into his match, where like they don't want him to put his hands in his pockets, and I think there was one match on one of the cards, they actually ripped the pockets off of his pants so he couldn't, and he actually wound up taking his hands and sticking them down in his waistband, which was funny. And he actually can wrestle and do things with his hands in his pockets, which is awesome. So I actually enjoy watching Orange Cassidy now. We then see a Darby Allin package, which leads into a segment with Taz. Apparently, they abducted Darby Allin after a title match with Joey Janela, and they put him in a body bag, and they had tied it to the car and dragged him down the parking lot. Taz comes out and talks about what they did to Darby, then calls out Sting because Sting was supposed to confront Team Taz. Sting comes out, and Sting doesn't say anything. Taz just does all the talking. He's really like running down Sting, saying that Sting's not man enough to take on Team Taz because he has a baseball bat, and he says that Sting feels like more of a man with the baseball bat than he does without it. So Sting drops the bat and he tries to go to work on Team Taz, but Team Taz winds up getting the upper hand, and they wind up beating down on Sting, and then Brian Cage powerbombs Sting in the middle of the ring, and then they pretty much walk out. Then we go into they show a match graphic for a 6-man tag that's going to be the main event of the night, which is Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade. Then Eddie cuts a backstage promo, talks about how he requested this match against Mox, Archer, and Phoenix. Calls Phoenix a waste of space, says he wanted Pentagon to be a part of the family. Talks about Moxley and how the only way to get rid of him is to beat him within an inch of his life, things like that. We then go into a weird Kenny Omega segment. He's all dressed up in a suit, and he's at like what I would assume is a daycare with Don and Nakazawa, and he's reading to the kids, and the book was called it's about his best friends, the Young Bucks, and the book was called The Young Bucks Killing the Business. That he reads like one or two sentences from the book, and then pretty much basically gets pulled away, and he's talking with like the teacher or the daycare, the runner of the daycare. And, like, this little kid walks up to Don and says, "Can he come and play?" And he's like, "No, Kenny can't come." He goes, "Oh, why don't you guys go play with Nakazawa?" And then the kids all wind up jumping Nakazawa and having fun. And that was pretty much the end of the segment. We then go into the AEW Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks defeating Santana and Ortiz. Post-match, the Inner Circle jumps the Bucks. They flash back. They then flash backstage, and Kenny is trying to send the Good Brothers out after the Inner Circle jumps, and Don's like pretty much basically holding back the Good Bros and Kenny, and then he whispers something into Anderson's ear, and he winds up sending them out, and then once they hit the ring, everything kind of like, like dissipates, and they kind of like break out. We come back from a commercial break, and we see Brandy talking about how she was planning on having a gender reveal party with her family. So she says she would rather share the moment with us, the AEW fans, on Dynamite. And she comes out, does a gender reveal with Cody, and it's revealed that they're having another baby girl. We then see a great match, FTR versus Matt and Mike Sydel, better known as Evan Bourne. But that was actually a good match. I really do enjoy FTR. I was a big fan of them when they were over in the E and they were wrestling in NXT. I feel that they still never got to live up to their maximum potential. They could have been a really good in on the main roster if they were utilized the right way. But this is not a WWE video. This is a AEW video. So with that being said, we see them pick up the win. FTR tries to cut the hair of Mike Sydel. The lights go out, and then on the big screen, they show Luchasaurus Shadow with his mask on the floor. The lights come on. Luchasaurus is wearing a new mask with the Jurassic Express, and they jump FTR, and they wind up putting FTR in a submission move and then a choke slam. I tell you, I still can't get over the height of Marco Stunt. He's so short. He makes Rey Mysterio look tall. I thought I would never see someone in the wrestling ring that's a full-grown man shorter than Rey Mysterio until I saw Marco Stunt. And some of the things that they do with him, they use him as a weapon, pretty much. Like they throw him around on top of people and everything like that. And I actually just recently found out that Jungle Boy is actually the son of the late great actor Luke Perry. I didn't know about that. We then come back from commercial. They show a backstage segment with Jon Moxley talking about his opponents. He talks about how he's gonna go and recapture the AEW championship. He talks about Kenta and how he's gonna break Kenta's neck and all this stuff and take care of him and say that he's, it pretty much puts him down. Then he talks about taking out each member of the Bullet Club to get to Kenny to get the AEW championship back. We then go into the main event of the night where Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix defeat Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade. Post-match, the Good Bros and Kenny jump Moxley. Kenny holds a contract, says that Moxley gets a rematch. He weaseled his way into a rematch with the contract. And he's yelling at the top of his lungs to John, saying, "Oh, you're talking about breaking people's necks and putting people in the ground and burying people and things like that." And he goes, "Well, I get to choose the stipulation of the match, and since you are guaranteed with this contract a rematch, then we're gonna put you down in the ground." And he says it's gonna be a exploding barbed wire death match. And I'm like, whoa, because we've seen barbed wire matches, of course, but we've never seen an exploding barbed wire match. I'm wondering how that's gonna go, because it can get pretty dangerous. I mean, Mick Foley actually lost his ear in one of those matches, in a match like that. So I really hope that they're careful with planning and doing this match. So the end of the video here, guys. What do I give AEW Dynamite tonight for a rating? Out of 5, I'd give it about a 3.5. And the only reason why is because I don't feel there was a lot of video packages. Obviously I know they got to set up for the next pay-per-view and stuff like that. I would have liked to have seen the match with the Young Bucks just go just a little bit longer. And I would have liked to have that been a back and forth kind of match. It was kind of slow, but it was still good and enjoyable. And then I would have liked to have seen more time given to the main event, which was the 6-man tag team match. Give my boy Mox a little extra time on TV. But guys, with that being said, if you like this video and you want to see more, you know what you got to do. Thumbs that video up. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. No. Elbow drop that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be made aware of when new content is uploaded to the channel. I am currently working on the next episode of MLB The Show, Road to the Show, episode 9. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that tonight or tomorrow. With that being said, guys, like always, thank you for being too sweet, all elite, and I'll catch you next week for more AEW Dynamite reviews.